Some days ago, we asked you guys to vote for the next pant tutorial you would like to see on this channel, and obviously, you can see that this particular pant won the vote. So, in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to draft this cowl pant from start to finish. This is a drafting tutorial. The next video is going to be the sewing tutorial. So, if you're interested, you would love to recreate this, keep watching this video. So, we're going to be drafting in this tutorial. What you need is your drafting paper, either white or brown. You need your marker or pencils. I would advise you use pencils because you may want to change some things or alter some things compared to what I did. So mind you, this is the first time I'm trying this kind of pants, and I would say it turned out well. But what I'm going to say is there were some things that I feel like I would want to change if I have the opportunity to do it again. So just relax and take note of those things, take note of the outcome, and know how you would love to tweak your own. And if there's anything, I'm going to let you know so you can take note of it so you don't make the same mistake that I did. Now, the first thing you want to do is really line at the top of your paper, which is going to serve as your waistline or top line. I am dividing this paper into two because I want to use it for both front and back. But if you know you are bigger than me, you may need two different papers. So, like I said, mark the first line as your waistline. And then because this pant is going to have band, you need to determine how many inches band you are going to need, you're going to use for your pants. For this pant, I'm using 1.5 inches band. So I'm subtracting that 1.5 inches from every single measurement I'm going to take on this pattern. So it means when I'm taking my hip measurement, rather my hip length, my hip length is 9 inches. Instead of 9 inches, I'm going to subtract 1.5 from that 9 inches that would serve as my band because my band is going to replace it. I just hope you understand. If you don't, please ask questions. So the first line I'm rolling is my hip line, and the next line I'm going to roll is my crotch line. To get your crotch line, if you've watched our previous pant tutorial, this will be very easy for you. You either sit on a chair and take from your waist to the chair, or you just divide your hip measurement by 4 to get your crotch length. That's where you draw your crotch line. And if you want it to be a high waist pant, add 2 inches after that division. Now the next line you want to draw is your knee length measurement. For this particular pant, we're going to need to draw our knee length measurement and then our full length of the pant measurement. So whatever your knee length is, that's your waist to your knee length, place it on this and mark. So I'm just, what I do is that once I've taken 1 point from my waist, I just like to calculate what it is from the closest line and roll out. That's why you see me calculating from the crotch. Now, after that, I'm going to do the full length measurement. The full length measurement for this, my pant, is 40 inches. Make sure it's on your ankle. This is not the regular palazzo that is going to be very long. So make sure it stops at your ankle. That's how you'd see the fitting, or well, that's the beauty of the pant. The next thing you want to do is mark out your crotch extension. There is a calculation for the crotch extension, which is your hip round measurement divided by 16. So whatever you get is what you use as your crotch extension for this particular pants that we're doing. Now, just watch the way I take my crotch extension measurement on the line that has been drawn. So on my crotch line is where I will mark my crotch extension. So whatever your crotch extension is, mark it on your crotch line from the edge of your paper, mark it on your hip line from the edge of your paper, and mark it on your waistline. Once you have these 3 points, join all of them together, join the three of them together. And then the next thing we're going to do is draw the crotch curve. So the crotch curve is just basically connecting with your curve ruler from that hip point to the edge. Just the way I'm doing it, you're going to give it a fine curve at that edge. That's going to serve as your crotch curve. After drawing your crotch curve, then you're going to come in at your waistline by half an inch, just the way I did, and connect it to your crotch curve. This is just to give that your stomach area a good, better fitting. But if you know you have like bigger stomach, then you may want to skip that part so you would have enough room for your stomach. Now, after doing this, the next thing we want to do now is take our horizontal measurement. That's our round measurement. So your waist divided by 4, whatever you get, you put it on your waistline. Your hip divided by 4, whatever you get, you put it on your hip line. Connect your waistline to your hip line together, and then extend it to your crotch line. I also hope you understand what I mean. So from your waistline to your hip line, and then you're going to extend whatever you have under your hip to your crotch line. After doing that, the next thing you want to do is get the midpoint on your crotch line. This is just like we're drafting a fitted pant, a regular fitted pant. That's the method we're trying to use. So after you get the half of your crotch line, you mark the midpoint, you measure from the edge of your paper, whatever you have, you take it to your knee line, and you do the same for the full length line. You have three lines that are this lower part: your crotch line, your knee line, and the full length line. So after you've done this, after you find the midpoint of them, you're going to rule a straight line from your crotch line to the end of the pants. Now, after doing this, we are now going to shapen the pants. Just make it a bit smaller. We're not doing a palazzo. We're not starting with a palazzo pattern. So we want to make it a bit smaller. So what I'm going to do is from my crotch line, I'm going to extend it to my knee line, but I'm going to come in by 1 inch. So whatever I have at my crotch line is going to be bigger than what I have on my knee line by 1 inch on both sides. I just hope you understand what I mean. I'm basically just tightening the knee area. So instead of, let's assume you have 10 on your crotch line, that measurement there, you're now going to have 8 on your knee line because you've removed one from the two sides. So you're going to do the same thing for the ankle area. The ankle area is the full length of the pant. So whatever you have on your knee length, you're going to remove one on both sides for your full length. That's for the ankle part. So let me explain again. If you have 10 on your crotch line, you're going to have 8 on your knee line, and you're going to have 6 on your ankle line. So we're just trying to make it smaller, make it a bit fitted as it goes down. I hope you understand what I mean. Once you are done, just the way I'm doing, connect all the lines together. After doing this, your front pattern is basically ready, but you're just going to have to mark around it. At the waist area, I'm just going to remark it just to make sure I don't forget that I'm adding 1.5 for band. So whatever, this is not the full length of the pant, I'm also going to add band of 1.5 inches. That's what I'm just marking. After doing that, you can go ahead and cut. But there's something I like to do at my waistline, that top area. I like to come down by half an inch because I notice that when I do that and put the band, it sits well. I don't know how to explain it, but it just sits and relaxes better when I do that. So you can try it out and see if it works for you. So after doing that, I'm done with the front pattern. Very easy, very straightforward. If you watch my previous video, this will be like a walk in the park for you. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. And after cutting it out, one thing I love about pants that you use the front to cut the back. Very, very simple. So I'm placing the front pattern on a fresh piece of paper and pinning it down or taping it down to cut the back. For the back, the first thing I'm going to do is at the waistline, that's the waist area, I'm going to come up by 1.5 inch. If you really look at it, it's coming up by 1 inch because you've already come down at your front waist by half an inch. So between 1 to 1.5 inches, you can come up at the back area. The back area is supposed to be longer. The back part is supposed to be longer. So when you sit, your bum is not exposed. So first thing I'm doing is at that waistline, so that I elongated it, I drew it out. I'm going to go in first by 1.5 before I come up by 1.5. I hope you understand. So from the waist for the front, go in because your back area is not flat, it's a bit slanted or curved. So I'm going in by 1.5 and then coming up at that point by 1.5. If you're looking at the pattern, you would understand what I mean. And then since I went in by 1.5 inch, I'm going to come out at the other edge of the paper by 1.5 inch just to make sure our waist measurement is accurate. So it's basically me coming in by 1.5, coming out by 1.5, just to make sure the waist measurement is still intact. And then I'm going to connect those 2 points together. And then at the crotch area, I'm also going to come out by 1.5. Every single thing is 1.5 for me. It works perfectly well for me. If I'm working with people that have like bigger buttocks, I work with 2 inches or 2.5 inches, but majorly 1.5, 2 inches is fine and it's enough. After doing that, I'm just going to connect that crotch area to the knee line because I don't want to take it all the way down. I don't want the legs to be big at all. And then the next thing I'm going to do is remove my front pattern and connect the crotch together at the top area, that's the waist area, and the lower area, so it can form my crotch curve. After doing this, I'm going to take my zip allowance because my zip is going to be at the back. At this point, if you want your zip at the side, you can just use your sewing allowance to do that. But I'm going to do my zip at the back. So I'm going to come down by about 9 inches. Meanwhile, if you are doing 9 inches or 8 inches for your zip, just remember your band. Your band is going to make up for that, some of that 9 inches. So be careful when you are doing that. I'm going to mark and then come out by 1 inch because my zip allowance is going to be 1 inch. After doing that, it's basically ready. I'll go ahead and cut it out. Now that we have both our front and back pattern, this is where you want to pay attention more because we'll be turning this basic pattern into the cowl pattern for our pants. So pay attention at this point. On our front pattern, the cowl is going from the waist area. If you look at the original design, cowl is going from the waist area towards the side of the pant. So that middle part, I don't want any pleats to be there. So the middle part, I want at least 3 inches on both sides to be plain. So I'm going to do, since this particular pattern I'm working on, I'm going to come in from the center front by 1.5 inch, that's 1.5, and then so from that 1.5 is what I'm going to pleat, but I want three pleatings. Yes, you heard me right, I want three pleatings. So I'm going to divide that remaining space after 1.5 inch from the center front into three equal halves. You can do three equal halves, you can just freestyle if you want to, but what I did is I did 1.5 inches from the center front, 1.5 inch again, another 1.5 inch. So automatically, if you count, I have four spaces and I label them A to D. Please just pay attention and ask questions if you don't understand. So for my center front, I measured 1.5 inches, and then the remaining space I divided it into three equal halves, which gave me 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. You can use 2, 2, 2 if you have bigger waist. In fact, I would even advise you to use more pleats if you have bigger waist, because after making the pants, I noticed that the more pleated it is at the waist area, the more defined the pleats are, the more the cowl definition would form. I hope you understand what I mean. So if you know you can pleat more than that 1.5, please by all means, if your waist can take it, then do it. Now, after marking the waist area, we'll come to the side of the pants where the cowl is going to form. We already have A, B, C, D spaces A, B, C, D. Well, let me just say line A, B, C. We're going to create line A, B, C at the side of the pant. Now, what I did is I came down 1.5 inches from my crotch line. So you can look at, when I finish the pant, you can look at the result. If you know you want your own to be lower, you can, but I would even advise you to make it higher from my observation. So I came down 1.5 inches from my crotch line and marked it point A. Remember that the first one at the waist area is point A also. So we have point A at the side area. The next thing is I came to my knee line, exactly on my knee line. I marked it point B. And then the last one is for my ankle area. That's the length of the pant area. For that one, I came up by 6 inches. 6 inches was perfect to me, but you can check it out when I'm done and know if you want to come higher or lower. So I marked that point C. So we have at the side of the pant, we have point A, point B, and point C. And at the waist area, we have point A, point B, and point C. So we're going to connect A to A, B to B, and C to C using our curve ruler. Just watch how I'm doing it. For the shorter part, you curve it once. For the longer part, you keep coming down, down, down until you can meet the point. For the other part, you keep coming down until you can meet the point. So labeling it A, B, and C just help me know which to connect to which. So on your waist area, you're supposed to have a point A, B, and C, and at the side of your pant, you're supposed to have a point A, B, and C, and then you're going to connect them together. Very simple, very straightforward. Now that we've connected it, and now label the spaces A, B, C, D, just to make sure I don't mix up which is which. The exact thing we did for the front, we did it for the back. Now, remember that this back waist is coming from after the zipper allowance. So I just, whatever I had at my front, I just put it at my back. Now, I noticed that after doing this, I noticed that it wasn't even necessary to do this in the first place, because when I did the slash and spread for the front, I ended up using it to cut my back pattern directly. So I didn't even need this back pattern we are using right now. I cut it directly on the fabric with the front. I'll show you how when we are doing the sewing tutorial. But yeah, the exact same thing I did for the front, I'm just doing it for the back pattern, marking point ABC at the top area, marking point ABC at the side area, and connecting them together. And yeah, this is what we would have when we are done. Like I said before, this is very, very simple. If you are used to slash and spread method, then this should not be a problem for you. Now, I noticed that at the side of the pan, there was like a slanted area. For this area, I feel like you should slant it more, because these 3 inches I came up by, or is it 3 or 4? It wasn't enough slanting to me. So you can do up to 4.5 or 5 inches slant, so that that center inner seam area is going to be very slanted. I'll put a picture so that you can see what I mean. So after I was done, I just marked ABC, and then the last part I marked it D later, and then I'm going to cut it off. So we are going to use this to cut on the fabric. So it's two things: either you cut this now directly on the fabric, or you use it on another paper before you cut on the fabric. For the sake of those that are not really good with slash and spread, I did it on another paper so you can see clearly before I did it on the fabric. So if you know you are not very good with slash and spread, please slash and spread on a paper first before you transfer it to your fabric. So you can see that I'm just arranging it so I can determine how many inches I want to slash and spread with before I cut it out. So this is the main part, and this is the part I would love you to be open-minded to explore. What I'm just doing is arranging the 4 different pieces we have on a fresh paper so that I can slash and spread. So basically when you're doing slash and spread, you have to leave uh, an amount of inches in between each pieces to form whatever you want to form. So for the upper part, I left 1.5 inch everywhere at the upper part. The upper, that's the waistline area. I left 1.5 inch at that point. Now, this is where I said I will correct you in case I see it can be better. So for that part where I left 1.5 inch at the waist, I would advise you, especially if you have bigger waist, I would advise you to leave more inches, say 2 inches, 2.5, 3 if possible, so that the pleats will be more defined. Because now that I left 1.5, it's just half of that I'll be pleated into the outfit. I don't know if you get what I mean. If you really do pleat, you understand what I mean. So if you pleat up to 2, it will be pleated and it will be 1 inch on fold. So please, if you can leave more than 1.5, I would advise you to do that so that when you pleat, the pleat will be very defined. Hence, the cowl effect will be defined. So at the upper area, I left 1.5 inch everywhere. At the lower area, I left 5 inches space in between them. But for the first part, I left 4 inches space because that first part, that's point A, the piece labeled A, the cow there is not supposed to be so much. If you look at the picture, mine ended up being too much after I used 4. So I advise you to use 2 inches or 3 inches for that first part. But I believe that 5 inches for the other part is perfect. You can, once you see the result, I'm sure you saw the result of mine at the beginning of this video, you can look at it if you want your cow to not be as big as that. So where I'm leaving 5 inches, you can decide to leave 4 inches. Where I'm leaving 4 inches, you can decide to leave 3 or 2 inches. So reduce it if you don't want it to be so much, and increase it if you want it to be so much. Simple math is as simple as that. Just explore so your result can be particular to you, to your taste. So that's it. I'm just trying to spread it out. I'm leaving 5 inches space in between B and C, 5 inches space in between C and D. And for A and B, I left 4 inches space, like you can see. And at the upper area, the waist area, point A to B, point B to C, and C to D, I left 1.5 inches space each. And that is it. At this side area now, I just connected the dots together. Please look at the way I'm cutting. It's not like the regular slash and spread that you will join just the broken dot. Now I just did a round this thing to the lower part, a round line. What I would have preferred after I made mine, what I would have preferred is at that A area, if I had not come out too much with up to 4 inches, if I had done maybe 2 inches, it would have been more relaxed at the hip area. The hip area would have been tighter. I think I would prefer a tighter hip area. So if you know you prefer a tighter hip area, don't come out by up to 4 inches from point A to B. So see how I'm connecting all the dots together just in a round way, like so that there'll be space there very well for the cowl to cowl, if you know what I mean. After doing that, I just went ahead to cut it out as you can see. Now, the reason why I said it wasn't necessary to do the back pattern from the beginning is because after slashing and spreading the front pattern, I realized that I can use this one that I've slashed and spread to cut the back directly, just the exact same way we cut the back at the beginning of the video. So there was no need to start drafting or there's no need to start slashing back after slashing front because of time, so you won't waste your time. Now, if you do it correctly, when you pleat, this is what it will look like. So you can see that my pleats are not very defined. They are small. So if you leave more than 1.5 inch, you're going to have more defined pleats. Now that we're done with the front, let's go ahead to cut out the back. Like I said before, it wasn't necessary to cut the back from the beginning because we can use this to cut the back. So I'm just going to get a fresh paper, place this one that we have slashed and spread already on it, do the exact same thing we did when we were drafting for the back. At the upper waist area, I'm going to go in by 1.5 inch and come out by 1.5 inch. Going to come out at the other side by 1.5 inch and connect the lines together. I'm going to do the same thing for the crotch, come out by 1.5 inch and connect it to the knee line. And then I'm going to remove my front pattern and join the curves together. and draw my zip allowance. I'm not explaining it word for word again because I already did that in this video. So if you skip that part, take it back and watch it. Now that we are done with front and back, next thing for you to do is cut, and your pattern is basically ready. I really liked working on this pattern. This was the first time I was working on something like this, and it was really, really beautiful to work on. I can't wait to show you the process, the sewing process. So if you watch this video till the end, thank you for staying to the end of this video. Hope you found this video helpful. If you like this video and you are hoping to actually make this outfit, the next video is going to be the sewing tutorial. You can see from the beginning of the video that we already made the pants with this pattern. It came out perfect, or will I say near perfect? It could be better. But yeah, if you know you want to see the sewing tutorial, just turn on your post notification and um yeah, wait for the notification. I'm going to post it shortly after this. Just let me know if you understand this, if you have questions, and I'm going to answer your questions. Yeah, so don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. You can drop a lovely comment to support us, and you can share this video to all those you think it may be helpful to. Now, this pants was the highest vote when I asked which of the pants you would like me to make next. So the next pants we're going to be making will probably be the second highest vote, or we're just going to have to make something else. Let me know what you want to see next. See you in my next video. Thank you so much for your support so far. And yeah, we have online classes available on corsets, on pants, especially pants. If it's something you're interested in, just send a message on Instagram, Zokbel Academy, and we would text you right back. Openings for physical classes would also be available soon. So if you want to make inquiries, let us know and we'll give you the details. For now, we have an online class, a paid online class on elastic waist tightening. If you would like to join the class, if you would like to buy the course, let me know and I would send you a link. See you in my next video. Thank you for watching this one through to the end. In the next video, we're going to be using this crepe fabric to cut this pant. Can't wait to show you what the process will be like. See you in my next video. Until then, keep winning.